What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 2 of the American Song Podcast as we recap episode 2 of the American Song Contest. I'm Ryan Smetzer, and here is our co-host, Mr. Adam Peters. Adam, how you doing this morning?
I'm tired.
Oh, yeah. And you start a new job today, right?
I start a new job very soon. So
Like-
I'm going to fly through this recap.
Yeah.
And we were up late watching the show. I mean, 8 to 10, pretty rough time period. Watched it together.
Right.
And then I had to come home, drove about an hour home after we watched it together. But it was good to experience ASC together and get some live reactions out of each other.
And it was interesting, too, because we had to kind of hide some of our reactions, at least, because we didn't want to, obviously spoil the conversation had during today's podcast recording. But I will say the cookies were fire. They were so good.
We ate some cookies. We listened to some tunes. We pet some cats. It was a good night.
It was baller. It was fantastic. But hey, episode number 2, which, by the way, everybody, thanks for your support so far. Going through episode number 1, seeing some of the reactions there on the Reddit feed, there on the Facebook group. It's just cool to see the support so far, I think, for the podcast overall. And
shout out the community. Shout out Steve from the Facebook page. Shout out Andrea from the Facebook page. Shout out. We've had family members of contestants reach out, which is something I didn't expect. Not something I also considered when evaluating performances before. But it's been cool to grow a little bit community, see people have any interest in this podcast. We very much exceeded my goal of 10 downloads for the whole season, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Right.
We're growing, and hopefully we'll keep growing.
And I am so determined not to base my opinions of the performers on the fact that we are virtually meeting some of the relatives. So that's going to be a little bit of the challenge for sure. But I also learned that there is an app where you can rank your performers. This is a Eurovision thing, but they actually created a section for the American Song Contest. So I'm real stoked about this now moving forward throughout the competition so that I don't have to just list them all out in our notes, and I can actually go in.
What is the app called?
It is called Eurovision. It's My Eurovision Scoreboard.
Okay. Not a sponsor.
No.
Yet, reach out My Eurovision Scoreboard, and we'll set something up.
Yeah, we'll have our people call your people. But honestly, episode 2, I think overall production value is I think that was just something that we noticed even within the first minute, having Kelly Clarkson and Snoop Dogg walking out from behind the stage. You and I thought it was going to be an opening number, they were going to sing a song together or something. And so just overall, you could tell that they're getting their footing. They're improving on the production value. There were some pieces that, I still was just did we need this? Just stating the facts we could do without, but I'm just gonna assume
maybe we don't need to state facts. Maybe we can X the fact stating segment.
Right. Because it's
That
usually
should be fine.
it's stand-up comedy attempts from Snoop Dogg, and I don't know how I feel about it entirely.
But it's not one time. It was 4 or 5 times.
Right.
Total. But improved chemistry, I think, between the hosts.
Yep.
Good time. Good time.
Yeah, I think
I'd
overall they're
say-
just continuing to build.
Yeah, and they announced the results from week 1, from the first heat, and I was pretty spot on with my rankings.
Yeah.
My top 3 were the top 3 that moved on. Now, I didn't have Rhode Island initially in my top 3, so the top 4 the one in my top 4 that didn't move on was Wyoming. I'm a little disappointed about that, but yeah, I was pretty in tune, I guess, with America's votes. We saw a lot of different reactions across the Facebook and the subreddit where I kind of didn't know which way it was going to go. It seemed like more people were into Wisconsin than I was expecting.
Yeah.
Some people, we saw Oklahoma had a huge reaction, so I was pretty confident that she would go through.
I felt bad for Arkansas.
It's interesting.
Like,
Yeah, because the jury had her
Right.
so highly ranked. But clearly, if you dove into the Twitter, if you dove into Facebook or the subreddit, you saw like that was someone that universally was not anybody's favorite, really.
Yeah, they loved Connecticut and the pizza there. And so they had to slip them right on through with Michael
That's
Bolton
true.
there.
Connecticut has pizza.
I will say that, the fact that they're adding on this kind of like wild card slot where they're going to bring on, I think they said like one or two contestants into the tournament based on like this total streams and like how popular they've gotten online. That's where I think Wyoming is going to just slide right through no matter how the results were.
Goofin' City right there. That's New Boot Goofin'
I mean, you saw the TikTok videos on the
world.
live, on the actual broadcast with like the dogs with their shoes and all that kind of stuff. Like, fantastic. Now, are you going to record one?
Back to the wild card.
Yeah. Are you going to record one with Blair?
Yeah, my dog and I maybe we'll be New Boot Goofin'. She does have some shoes I can put on her, and she can be New Boot Goofin' with Ryan Charles.
That's perfect. 100%. Now, I will say, as we start to go through each of these, when we get to our rankings, I'm pretty certain that everyone on the Reddit and the Facebook group might be in disagreement with some of our decisions on the rankings.
Man, I saw some wild rankings out there. I think people are all over the map. Even more so than week one. I'm gonna say, as a whole, as a total average, I thought these songs were better than week one. So I found I had a much harder time ranking. I would say week one, I only really cared about my top 4. Everything else was meh. This week, my top 7, I had a very hard time ranking. So my number 5 is something that's a song that I love. Like this was a lot harder. A lot of good songs in this week. And maybe I think we have some disagreements between each other, and I think we're gonna have some disagreements between the community.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And I actually changed my rankings, I think about 5 or 6 times, even right before we went on. I have adjustments because I was just like, no, actually, I don't think I'm right on that. Like I was arguing with my own self. So we'll just get right into it though. We got to Oregon to kick things off. And I know you had told me, I really didn't listen to the Spotify playlist before the aired. I kind of wanted to go into this cold and kind of just hear some of them just right off of the bat. But you had warned me ahead of time that Oregon was a vibe. The song is so fun. And we also were wondering at the very beginning, what are the weird like smoothie cups with money signs that are walking with Kelly Clarkson and Snoop Dogg? Our question was answered right at the very beginning of the show. And I loved it. I would say, like, I'm not going to say my ranking for them just yet, but at the very beginning, I like immediately had them at like, oh my goodness, they're number 1 and no one's going to be able to topple them.
It's awesome. I really like Courtship. That's an artist I knew of ahead of time. They immediately had such a great energy. They were really funny. They didn't take themselves too seriously.
Right.
They talked all about, they just talked about being Oregon guys, and the song was fantastic. They don't have the best voices, but that's not really like their thing. That's not really their selling point anyway.
Right.
It's a huge chorus, great hook, goofy concept, a great bridge. I thought one of the best bridges of the contest so far. And like you don't always get a pure real bridge out of a pop song, but this one had one.
Yeah.
And the funniest visuals, the smoothie girl going around was so funny.
I had the biggest crush on the smoothie girl.
Yeah, I wanted the smoothie from Smoothie Girl. And there was then fortunately that turned into a lot of smoothie discourse from the hosts. And at some point, let's move on from the smoothies. But fantastic. You don't want to give your ranking? I'll give my ranking.
Okay, give your ranking.
I'm at number 2.
I also, I believe, had them, at number 2. I indeed did. I think our number 1s are different, but
I did that same reaction out there in the internet, so we might be off from the public, but yeah, man, we loved it. We were having a blast. Like, what a great way to open the show.
I will not be surprised if some of you turn the podcast off after you just heard us say that they're number 2, because the rankings that we were seeing online last night immediately following the episode, y'all had them at like the bottom of the barrel. Like you guys wanted to like crucify them.
As soon as I heard it on Spotify, on my way over to your house, I was like, yeah, this is not for everybody,
Mm-hmm.
but this is for me.
Yes. Like there were a couple of those that we were just like, oh, this I would go see live 110%. Like, what a great theatrical production by far. Then we get to Montana, which, by the way, before we get to Montana, Oregon, of course, they did a good job with their segment of like, hey, who are you? Where are you from? That kind of thing. And I think it was because of how quirky and funny they are. So it was able to be biographical. You were able to hear a good amount about the artist, about the group, and about their area, but in like a funny, quirky kind of way that just added that excitement to it for sure. Montana, we just kind of went into the fact that it was cold.
Which it is.
Yeah,
That's fair.
right.
Yeah, it's been great to interact with people on the Facebook and the subreddit, Eurovision fans from outside the United States, Europe and beyond, and get to hear their perspectives. Like, well, we actually like hearing about the states because we don't really know what Montana is, and you know what? That's fair. And that I had a totally different viewpoint of the
Right.
state segments going into this episode because of my discussions with people online about their appreciation of these segments. So yeah, I didn't have we were hating on it a bit in the first episode, but I'm kind of okay with it. This guy, he's a he's a farm worker, I guess, and that's kind of what Montana has. Montana's beautiful. I've heard Montana has a very small population, so the fact that they were able to find somebody for the show is
Right.
wonderful. And I thought they found a fantastic artist for this
Yes.
show.
He found they found a country artist that not only was able to be, your good heartthrob country singer. However, they also found one that was able to like attach to a country pop demo, which is kind of where country radio has evolved to within the last like 2 to 3 years. And so, this is a song that I put, it's the best country pop song on the radio that's not actually a country pop song on the radio.
Totally.
Mhm.
Perfect country pop. It's a little generic. It's been done before, but
Right.
like people still love it. Those songs drop and still go back to them, even though that's been kind of a big part of the genre for the last 7 or so years.
Mhm.
So I was all about it. Could totally see it being on country radio right now. His voice didn't blow me away live. There was actually some mixing issues I saw, and I even saw some posts saying they couldn't really hear his vocals. And I think I was a little bit biased going into it because the recorded version on Spotify was so good.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't maybe as much paying attention to the fact that I couldn't hear the vocals. I
Mhm.
watched it back when I got home last night, and I definitely saw what people were saying. Like, you could not really hear him. You heard him with the backing track a lot. Like, it was kind of, I don't know what was off there.
Mhm.
But if you go and listen to the Spotify version, this is a great song. He does not have the best stage presence,
Right. That
but
was my thing.
I did like the set a lot. I liked the band. Those were really, really talented musicians, and every musician on here is really talented, but I really liked his backing band. I liked the pyro to go along with the fired up hook. Great hook, which turned into Snoop Dogg making weed jokes, which,
Well, no, it wasn't
I
even
mean,
that he made a weed joke. He was like, "Oh yeah, I'm fired up," and then Kelly was the one that kind of like instigated the weed joke. Like she was just
and he's
like,
yeah, that was my gimmick 10 years ago. Let's move on.
correct. And I think that was just one of the things, like, I put down that, like, he needs to interact with the crowd more. He's a heartthrob. Like, he could have done the whole typical, like, American Idol, I'm going to run around and, like, start high-fiving the audience kind of thing. Although maybe they told him not to do that because of COVID. That could very well be a
He
thing.
needed something, though. He needed some stage presence, but I love the song. I've got him at number 5 out of 11.
That's hilarious. I also had him at number 5. So far, we're in a good spot.
Crazy because I love it. And that's what I'm like. If this was happening in Heat 1, that would have been a lot higher. It's crazy to me that this is number 5 because I was listening to it last night again, and I was like, man, this is a great song.
Right.
But let's go from what is the opposite of Montana?
I think New York.
Baby.
Forget about it. I only say that because that was part of the
She's
highlight
walking
reel.
here.
Yeah.
It would have been. We talked about it. It would have been awesome if this had been somebody in like Western New York or like
Poughkeepsie,
Poughkeepsie, New York. Like
Albany.
it would have been fun because people would be expecting New York City, but we got a Brooklyn girl, and that's fine. She's awesome. She's or her parents are Albanian immigrants, Albanian, just like one of my favorite pop stars, BB Rexa.
There you go.
And she's got that star power, man. Like you could tell right away off the bat.
I put
She's
down
a star.
Dua Lipa with exceptional dance skill and that the song belongs
Mm.
on top 40 radio because it really does.
Oh
Like
yeah.
it has that beat, the performance was great, the dancing was great, the special effects were awesome. It really was just like a true performance, and the amount of content that I've seen from Eurovision, it fit the mold of Eurovision. Like, and that was, I think, what a lot of people were saying there in the chat and there on Reddit, was that the first couple of performances had that vibe. And I think that, again, that's another example of how, like, as a show as a whole, they found their footing in this episode. But she was incredible. Vocally, she was fantastic. Dance wise, like, she had the moves. Her backup dancers were great. Yeah, I mean, overall, like, I loved it.
The light show, the green lights was fantastic. Amazing stage presence, just fantastic hook, maybe the best hook of the show I've seen. I did not like that the chorus says boy twice. And in like, I feel like it might have been a purposeful stylistic choice that I'm maybe not understanding, but it was like, to me, it was like a basic songwriting error. But again, like I don't know. Overall, I don't want to dwell too much on it, but that knocked it for me a little bit. But it's great. It's a great song. I saw a lot of people saying like, "Oh, this is ripping off this other song called Green Light." No, it's not. Songs have multiple songs have the same title. It's fine.
It's a
This
simple
song
concept.
rocks.
Like,
She
green means
rocks.
go.
I mean, we're talking like the first three songs are all in my top 5. So I mean, they started this show off hot this week, and I had New York in at number 4.
You ready for my ranking?
Yes, sir.
I had my girl New York at number 1.
Let's go. I don't hate it.
Nope.
Because I think when I first listened to the Spotify songs, I think I had her number 1, or at least one or two. Like, it's great. It's a great song. That's one of those plug and play. Plug it from here. Put it right on the radio right now. It's ready.
100%. Then we have Nebraska, who, for me, in my opinion, was a pleasant surprise. I was not sure what to expect. I will say that this was one that I previewed the track beforehand, and I was kind of in that spot where I was like, I don't know. I'm not really sure how I feel about it. But when it got to the live performance, I will say I was impressed. I was happy with it. I thought there were times vocally live that it wasn't the most consistent, but I thought that she was able to tell her own personal story through the performance and through her package that was beforehand. Like,
I love the
really won
package.
me over. Like, her story
Oh, yeah.
and her state, all of that overall just like won me over like crazy.
Yeah, Jocelyn is super likable. Does work with a nonprofit. What I found was interesting was that she was talking about busking in Nebraska, which I didn't even know there would be a place to busk in Nebraska.
Right.
So
It'd be the
that's wonderful.
college.
And the fact that Jocelyn got discovered that way from an internet video and has clearly had some success in their career, opening for Darius Rucker. I think that's awesome. And yeah, it wasn't my favorite song. I loved the white guitar. I think Jocelyn's super talented. I think I have listened to some other Jocelyn's music, and it's fantastic. This song for me, and there was a Reddit post that summarized it perfectly, which was like that the verse of the song was amazing, and I thought that, and that it started so strong. The verse is so good, and the chorus was a bit of a letdown. It did not really have a strong hook. I understand the stylistic choice. There are a lot of songs like that, but when you're going into a song contest, you got to hit it with your best, and you need to have a strong hitting chorus,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And this just didn't do that for me. I saw a lot of the same reactions online, but I think Jocelyn's super talented and is going to have an amazing career.
Right.
I just didn't have this one too highly ranked. I've had it at 10th out of 11.
And I think that's what I had kind of had put down in my notes, was that the song has a place in the industry because of individuals like Taylor Swift, who, came out with that Cardigan album. And a lot of those songs have the same exact kind of feel where it almost kind of travels from verse to verse. There's a chorus there, but it's not like this big prominent smacky in the face kind of chorus, and it travels. It's a good story. So I think that, like I said, I think she's got a place for sure in the industry because of the style of songwriting like that has kind of been popularized. So I had her down as number 9. That was where I had her sitting at.
This is when I turned on the hosts a little bit, and I'll tell you why. We went
Uh-oh.
to the next song, and all of a sudden I realized it reminded me of when I was in the 4th grade and I hosted a talent show. Or I was the MC for my school's talent show in the 4th grade.
Way to
After
go.
every act, I'd come out and I'd say, "Wow, that was really good." And that is what they do in between every song. They say the same thing. "Oh, I
Yeah.
love that song, man. Oh, yeah, song was great." Every single song. And I don't know, I'm not pitching an alternative to you, NBC. Maybe flip it to American Song Podcast and see what we have to say. Mix it up. Go to the Eminem Lounge girl. She's a good host too. Mix it up a little bit, because this just saying that we like the song after every single song,
Right.
getting a little bit old.
Right. And that was like, it reminded me of kind of the new era of Idol, and even The Voice sometimes too gets into this, where it's like there's a little bit of constructive feedback, but I also am reminded that they are hosts and not judges. But with that in mind, they don't have to constantly be like, what I liked about the song was this, this, and this, because they're not judging.
I think they can just move on to the next segment, just like award show hosts do. Speaking of The Voice.
Yeah.
What are you looking at?
I'm looking at my list over here of all of the of all the songs. I have my monitor right next to me. So
My
that's
man's got monitors for days. Speaking of The Voice, Kentucky, 2015 winner of The Voice.
Right. He was fine. That was like,
He's got maybe the best voice on the show.
Right.
He's probably the best singer, which makes it so much more disappointing when I hated the song.
Yes. So the song.
I didn't hate the song. I'm going to take it back. It was I did not care for it.
Yeah, it was my least favorite song, which that was, not saying that it was bad by any stretch of the imagination, but all of the songs were so good in this episode that his had to wow me. And, you have a situation to where he won The Voice, and he won it, fair and square that season. He was incredible, still is, still has a great story, still has great music, great talent. But man, this song it sounded like he created his like second album in his recording career. And this was a song that was like sitting there in the demos, and he was like, no, I won't include that. And then when they asked him, or he auditioned, or however he got on this show, he was like, oh yeah, there was that song that I wrote in like 2017 and never did anything with. I'm going to use that. Not only was the writing not the greatest, however, you got to the production value. And you're like, okay, it started out good. I was looking at the screen, I'm thinking, okay, this is cool. He's on a platform, which a lot of people did, the same thing. And he's singing, he's got this cool thing in the background. They've got these screens. There was like these faces on the screen, which I don't know what the story behind that was. So I'm not going to be like, that was weird or cheesy if there was something of like great value to that. The like weird superimposed feathers that they put in like the switcher, so that whenever they would cut to him, you would see like feathers falling on the broadcast. That was cheesy. It just wasn't. It didn't strike me.
The lyrics were cheesy. I like the first note of the chorus.
Yeah,
Sparrow. That's about it. That's about it. And I didn't care for it. I had it ranked as I ranked 11 out of 11. And the fact that, and I'll go ahead and spoil it, that was the jury selection. And that was I did see a positive reaction for this song online generally, but when it was the jury selection, we saw a negative reaction.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, like they chose another ballad. They chose another like safe song that didn't do very much, just like Rhode Island. Although I like Rhode Island's song far
Yeah.
better than I like this song. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Like we both had this ranked at the
Yeah.
bottom of our lists, and it was a jury selection. And I do not know what else to say beyond that.
Right.
It was baffling to me. I'm very disappointed we're going to miss out on a much superior song moving on to the next round because of that. And I don't know. He's a super talented guy. I wish he had a better song.
It was
I
disappointing.
know we skipped over a song, so let's go back to Virgin
Well, and I
Islands.
actually think that before we go to the Virgin Islands, I think we need to have a halftime report.
We don't need a halftime report, actually. Neither did they. So
I
I
so
don't need a break. I don't need a break between. We have commercial breaks. We have the in between song breaks. We don't need a halftime report.
yes, but I will say this is a question for our followers who are very avid listeners or followers to Eurovision. Let's talk about this though, because from what I understand, they have a halftime show in the actual competition, and they have past performers, past winners go on and they sing their song, and that's where I'm sitting there thinking, okay, maybe this is like NBC's version of that, but we don't have any winners or people from the past yet because it's the first time that it exists. So tell me, Eurovision fans, is this necessary? I'm just going to leave it at that. And then, because I want them to be able to help us determine what this is. But right now, just based on pure, like just watching it the last 2 episodes, it's like, oh crap, this is a 2-hour show and we need to fill 5 to 6 minutes of it. So let's get Snoop Dogg
Yeah.
at a telestrator.
Nobody seems to particularly care for it, but
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Then we got Cruise Rock.
Oh yeah, Cruise Rock.
I got to know what your
loved
thoughts
getting the
were.
opportunity. I loved getting to learn about the Virgin Islands a little bit. He didn't go into too much detail, but I liked seeing it in the segment. He seems like he has a pretty successful career already, and he's got a great energy. He's really talented. I like he has star power. I like his look. I like everything about him. The song's super fun.
Yeah.
It's good enough to play in like a club or at a wedding or something, just because it has a good strong beat. But I don't really. It wasn't for me. I compare it. It's so easy to compare it to the song from Puerto Rico to me, just based on the beat and the feel. It's not the same song at all, but I'm just saying it has a similar vibe. And the Puerto Rico song blows us out of the water to me. Musically, there's just it wasn't all there for me musically. I thought it was fun to dance to, and that was about it. Great visuals, love the dancers, love everything, but I had this ranked pretty low. I had this ranked 9th out of 11. I know we disagree.
I know we disagree because I was looking at this ranking. I have the U.S. Virgin Islands at 3rd.
Steve, my man Steve from Facebook, the Facebook group, had it at number 1. I saw a lot of people.
Okay, that's a lot. One is
I don't know.
One's a
I saw
stretch.
people loving this song.
This was probably the most divisive episode so far. I mean, there's only been 2, obviously, but like I hope that it's this interesting though. Like moving forward, that each episode has this now, where everybody's like, "Man, I love that one." No, I actually loved this one that everyone hated, because again, like having the U.S. Virgin Islands at 1, I could not have possibly done that. However, I put it at 3 because it is a ton of fun. It's a song that I think that like at like a wedding or a party I would play, and it would just be such a bop. Like that was what I was kind of basing it off of in my head, was that it was just like a fun party song. And I think if I watched everything back again and had to re-rank, I don't know if I'd have him at 3rd, because I think that I would evaluate a little bit more specifically. But basing it purely off of the performance, off of the song, off of just him and his story, I wanted them at 3. If I had to move the remaining 3 forward, I'm good with my like top 3 going through, with Kentucky unfortunately also going through. That's where I'd put
It
him.
might go forward, man. I mean, it was beloved in many sections. I was based on initial reactions I saw, I was expecting to love this song. I didn't, but at the same time, I don't dislike it at all. I thought it'd be great to play in a club, great to play at a wedding. It's got a great energy. It's really fun. It just musically wasn't really there for me.
And And then we go to North Dakota, home of the bison.
which is that's a different state than Montana.
It very much is, but it's also still cold. There's snow there.
Ah, yes, I did get that. Yeah, I thought her segment was really, really interesting. I
Mhm.
thought there's not that much to say about North Dakota. This is not a very populated state. Not a not a lot of people there. Not a lot of stuff there. Not a lot of things to go over. It's a cold, rural state in the middle of the United States.
Yeah.
And so it was wonderful, I thought, to bring on some Native American representation,
Right.
which she is a member of a tribe.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a great segment. I thought they had a great segment afterwards when they had traditional Native American blankets. Sorry, I forget the name of her tribe, but that they gave to the hosts. I thought that was wonderful. So that was really made something very unique about sort of a state segment that we've seen done already. We've seen a very similar one done in Montana. A lot of the rural states have a similar segment and story to be told, which newsflash everybody that isn't from the United States. Yes, the United States is very big. Most of it is corn or fields of wheat.
Mhm.
That's a majority of the country. So even where we're from, a lot of fields of corn. Okay, like more so than people. It's just how it is.
Yeah, I did like her story being based more on heritage than
Hmm.
geography. I thought that was
Sure.
really nice because, like you were saying, that a lot of the states, especially when you get into that region, are pretty darn similar. So getting into a spot where it was like, well, hey, here's a story about like my heritage based on where we're at, where we're from. I thought that was really nice. And then musically, my first reaction was if Maren Morris and Adele and Miranda Lambert and Kelly Clarkson had a baby.
Love it.
I don't know
Love it, man.
scientifically if that's
For
possible, but that's how it would be vocally.
that first note was awesome.
Man.
That they kicked, I thought, such a great, powerful voice, badass song, really good, pretty good stage presence for somebody. I said good stage presence, but not much star power.
Right.
Well, I don't think it really makes sense, but like it was like in some ways she had it, in some ways she didn't. But I also wrote that I liked that she was unrefined. I liked that she
Hmm.
was imperfect. I thought it went good with her character. I thought it went good with the song. That song kicks you in the teeth, and we have not had many songs that have done that. And I saw a really good reaction from this song online.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
I had her right in the middle of my rankings. I had her at number 6, just below Montana.
Yep. I have her at 7, man, and I said my top 7 of this episode. I love all those songs. So it really, really hurts me to have her that low.
Right.
It's just kind of how it fell, man. There's a lot of great songs this week. I can totally understand if someone had this at number 1, number 2, number 3. If that's more your style, I get it. This isn't really my style of music, but man, this song kicked you in your teeth. It was good. The musicians were really great. I love the instrumentation of this song. I loved her. I'd be totally fine if this song moved forward, but we have it
Yeah.
kind of in the middle.
I do want to, I like, this makes me want to hear some of her other stuff because I was just so
Hmm.
intrigued by her style. But then we shift gears even further. I loved the order in which they put these songs because it really did actually have a pattern of going from like fun pop, country pop, fun pop, getting to like the breakdown kind of acoustic vibes, fun pop, party song, Kentucky, and her. Like that was like the pattern was great. And then we kick into Broderick Jones. And Broderick Jones, that song just by default belongs on like the station I work for. It belongs on like a hip hop and R&B station. It belongs in a lot of different places. And the performance live was so much
It
fun.
belongs at the top of a chart.
Yes.
All of the charts. This Broderick Jones is the man. This song is the song. That performance was the performance. Those dancers are the dancers. That was the American Song Contest. Oh my
Dang.
God, man.
That was
I
a
heard it on
bold move
Spotify
right there.
first. I said, this man, a Grammy. Immediately you hear it and you said, oh, this is as good as anything Bieber's put out. It sounds like a Bieber song could have been written for him.
Yeah. I'll be honest, he had me worried in the first half. Like the first beat drop chorus, I was like, okay, I vibe with it. And I was so ready. I was like, I hope that in the second like time the beat drops and we kick into the chorus, like it's just gonna be like just total like melee. And it was.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, I love that. We loved the dancing. We were going crazy for the performance, right? Those dancers. I loved him. I think this was the most, other than Alexa's in for Oklahoma in episode 1, she danced obviously a lot, but that was part of choreography. Whereas this one felt, yes, it was choreography. It was choreographed ahead of time, but like it felt very real. Him just dancing in sort of like a romantic way with this beautiful dancer, and
Yeah.
like you just felt their tension. You felt amazing energy. I
He
loved the
told a
show.
story.
Oh yeah, man. We didn't care for the moon.
It was the
This is the moon
DreamWorks
one, right?
cloud. Like if you guys don't know what that is, like search DreamWorks logo or DreamWorks intro. It's legitimately the DreamWorks cloud at the beginning of every Shrek film that he was performing on. Now, I get it. A lot of people were saying that like, man, his set was like probably the most Eurovision of sets. And that's where I was
People
like,
said it was basically a ripoff of another Eurovision song. Not the song, but the set was.
yeah, but I was also just trying to like imagine in this situation that like, you know, if it was a Eurovision set and that's how their sets are, does that mean that like there's other performers that are like they're doing their song on top of like the Pixar lamp that's jumping around, or like is that like a
Yeah,
thing?
no, that's exclusively they only do movie sets, I
They
think.
do
But
brandings, yeah.
I got this song at number 1, baby.
Whoo, I
Send this
had
on. Send this on. This is the best song.
I had him at 4. I had him as like if he doesn't make it through and there's 2 performers that go on as like a wild card, it's him and New Boot Goofin. I mean, it's totally out of New
Yeah,
Boot Goofin's league, but New Boot Goofin has the like TikTok value.
man, I love this. But let's fly through some of these last ones.
Virginia.
Let's go to our area, man, the DMV.
She,
She's from super close to me, actually.
yeah. I don't know what all she knows about Virginia, though. Like, she knew
That
the
was awesome.
slogan.
That segment was awesome.
It was
She just started
adorable.
saying like random sayings that I don't think anybody says. Um,
Like,
just
she was saying
I don't
quotes from, like, that Jackson in Hannah Montana would use. Like, you know, man, you can't catch a rattlesnake with the fish stick. That's what we say in Virginia. And I'm like, no, we don't. And then she finally was like, and also Virginia is for lovers. I'm like, she's read road signs. I'm really glad. And then we found that video on Instagram. She was like, Snoop Dogg, yeah, he's my uncle. You know how we are in Virginia. We got a lot of uncles. And I'm like, you do?
I don't know, man. That was so funny to me because like it was just a very random period because clearly she lives like her nearest big city is DC, but
Yeah.
she can't do DC because that's already a part of the competition.
Mhm.
So, but I liked her story. Like her parents were Indonesian immigrants, and she's got this R&B vibe. They call her the R&B Princess of Virginia, which at this point I'm watching the segment and I have no idea what she's going to sound like.
Right.
Right. So I was really excited to hear the song because I had no idea. Kind of, you get a vibe from some people about what the song's going to be. Really didn't know. And wow, she's got it all, man. Great dancing, great stage presence, star power.
Right.
Love the chorus. I love the song. Really,
I'm
there's
rooting
some
for her.
aspect of certain R&B songs that can be. I don't really gravitate towards R&B songs because I find a lot of them are slow, and the song's kind of slow, and it's not for everybody, but I think it's radio ready, man, and she's ready to take the next step in her career. I thought this was
Yeah. I agree. I think she was great. I had her at number 7. That was where I was. And then
6.
Yep. So we were close.
Right in the middle.
Then our next to last one was Maine, which my first note there was Maine is just a better Rhode Island. Not the state, but the performance was just a better version of Rhode Island. And that was where I told you, I was like, maybe he's the one that moves on because of the jury, because he did have the same kind of style, the same kind of story. Did you know that Maine had lobster?
Oh, Maine has lobsters, dude.
Maine has lobsters.
Actually, this was the best the state segment because he said all the generic things. He's like, we have lobsters, we have lighthouses, we have LL Bean. He said all the generic things about Maine and then was like, okay, but whatever, we're through that. This is real Maine. And then he talked about the things he likes about it.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool because the other ones tend to be more generic.
He's my favorite name of the contestants. My favorite name, like King Coyote or King Coyote, King Coyote. However you pronounce it, it's dope.
Yeah, man, I like the live version. I don't know if you heard the recorded version. The live version's a lot better.
Hmm.
Um, the recorded version, they were going for something, but it wasn't really for me. It sounds very, very raw and unmixed, but and like that's like a stylistic choice I didn't really understand.
Hmm.
But I thought it was good live.
Yeah.
He's immensely talented. I loved the pairing his voice with the women's voice in the background. I think it'll be really well liked, but it wasn't really for me. I've got him down at 8 out of 11.
I had him at 8 as well. So we were in agreement on that one. And then this was, well, the one I was most excited for because as I mentioned to you yesterday before the show aired, I loved Macy Gray growing up. Not like, I mean, she's not like an artist that I loved in the sense of like I listened to all of her music. But when that song came on the radio, that when I could say goodbye and I choke, try to walk away and I stumble, that song was just so freaking catchy that like 6-year-old me is just like vibing in the back seat of my mom's car going to like, soccer practice or whatever. It was such a great song. And then she did the theme song to As Told by Ginger, which neither of these references you connected with. You had no idea.
I'd never heard of this person, so my bad on that. My bad on that. I realize she's 4-time platinum, so my bad on that. I've never heard of As Told by Ginger, a Nickelodeon show apparently. My bad on that. My fault. I will be discussing this with my parents and therapist to get to the bottom of the issue here.
I'm glad.
But so my bad. I liked her Ohio story. I liked her talking about Canton. I
Yeah.
liked that she worked with the Hall of Fame. I mean, this is a superstar that I just happen to not know about. So I don't want to dive in too much of her background. Like people must know. I like that she shouted out her band and she was like,
Right.
"I'm doing this all with my band,
Yeah.
California Jet Club." So that was cool.
Yeah.
So shout out California Jet Club. I like the song, man.
It
I
was
didn't get a
fun.
great reaction online, I don't think, but I liked it a lot.
Right. It was energetic. It was fun. There was this like overall energy to it that was just super great. A lot of people didn't like it because I feel like again Macy Gray is a very divisive artist, not in the sense that she's like polarizing, like she's,
Such a unique
hateful.
voice.
Yeah, she has a very unique voice. And so some people are like, okay, yeah, I love this. This is so much fun. I do think that would be a song that I wouldn't listen to a ton on like driving around. However, I loved the performance of it. It was so much
I came
fun.
home and listened to it while I was getting ready for bed. I listened to it this morning, man. I like it.
Yeah.
And the first time I heard it on Spotify on the way to your house, I was like, man, whatever. This is kind of weird. And then I saw the live. I think live it's better than recorded.
Yeah.
But then I came home and I listened to the recording and I was like, I love this.
I will
love
say that
this
I think that
song.
she's the one that I disrespected the most, I think, on my rankings because I had her down at 10, but it was only just because I liked everyone else's better.
I saw a lot of similar rankings, man. I didn't see this getting a great response, but for me, it's number 3.
Yeah.
I want this to move on, man. I thought this was fantastic. I thought
Right.
the band was great. I thought the featured artist, I'm sorry, I forget the man's name, was great and had added a lot to that song. Ooh, I thought this was a great, like, I don't know, team performance, band for performance. Like,
Yeah.
everything just came together for me. Like, the visuals were so-so. The performance aspect was so-so, but I just love the song, man.
Yeah.
Top 3, baby.
So then we get to, the jury results. And by the way, the jury, we know some of these people. There's 56 members of this jury. The jury's jurors include one of the winners of the Tiny Desk Concert Contest from NPR. Dan McCarroll, president of Capitol Records and WB Records, the co-founder of The Fray, Isaac Slade, Stephanie Davis, she's a singer and songwriter from Montana, and Tom Pullman, the chief programming officer of iHeartRadio, and Esther Dean. Remember Esther Dean?
No, I'm stuck up on the co-founder of The Fray. It doesn't say like I don't know again what this person did in the band. It doesn't say like guitar player for The Fray. It says co-founder of The Fray.
Like co-founded the band, yeah.
Maybe like it sounds like they're making him sound like a venture capitalist as opposed to like a musician. But
think of, so Esther Dean, this is like blows my mind, wrote these songs. Ready? Wrote Rude Boy by Rihanna, Firework by Katy Perry, S&M by Rihanna, Super Bass by Nicki Minaj, Mr. Know-It-All, Kelly Clarkson, Where Have You Been? She wrote a majority of the original Pitch Perfect songs. She, yeah, the rest aren't as exciting.
So
yeah.
I don't know. These are, I mean, I knew the jury. I kind of liked it better when I didn't know who the jury was because I disagree so strongly with this choice.
Isaac Slade really liked
So I don't
Kentucky.
know. I mean, these people are industry leaders, which, you know, from the business side of things, it makes sense that I might disagree with them. But telling me that Esther Dean might have voted for Sparrow. I mean, I guess it does sound like it could be a Katy Perry song. Like
it has that like remember Unconditionally by Katy Perry? It was kind of like a flash in the pan. It really wasn't that big. Yeah.
It wasn't that big, but it should have been.
Right. It had that vibe. I am glad, like, there's a part of me that now I'm like, I'm going to base all of my decision making on the fact that Esther Dean is in the jury.
I immediately started throwing conspiracy theories at you once they announced this.
Dude, you thought that it was somebody else. That was what blew my mind and cracked me up.
I said, oh, yeah, Kentucky. Awesome. That was my number one because I was mixing it up with Kansas. I didn't think in a million years Sparrow would be the jury selection for the song, but I was like, oh, I immediately started throwing conspiracy theories. Oh, yeah, they just want their boy from
The Voice.
Show, The Voice, who won. NBC just wants that guy to move on so they don't look bad, blah, 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 blah. I was mad, man. I just started eating cookies.
Yeah. Well, and we didn't go too hard into it, like as far as like let's fully break down that theory because we would like to get like invited to a live show at some point.
Right. No, NBC, we think you're the best. You're of all the three letters. I'm actually Young Rock is my favorite show.
Carson Daly is my idol.
Yeah. We don't talk about Pam. I watch it.
We don't talk about Pam.
Yes, you're gonna get us trademarked or whatever.
That's true. Yeah. Plus, that's not an NBC song. That's like, what is an NBC song? Da-na-na. That's basically.
Yeah, big NBC fans. We love
the National Broadcasting Company.
We love everybody on the jury.
Big Today Show fans. Yeah, 100%. Sunday Night Football is the best. It's going to be tough without Al Michaels.
Oh yeah, no, they're better off without him.
That's true. Yeah, Mike Tirico's great. He's gonna be amazing. So yeah, so that was, you know, ranking wise, I had New York at number 1, Oregon number 2, U.S. Virgin Islands number 3, Kansas number 4, Montana number 5. North Dakota number 6, Virginia number 7, Maine at number 8, Nebraska at number 9, Ohio at number 10, and Kentucky doesn't exist at number 11.
And I had Kansas number 1, Oregon number 2, Ohio number 3, New York number 4, Montana number 5, Virginia number 6, North Dakota number 7, Maine number 8, Virgin Islands number 9, Nebraska number 10, and Kentucky at 11, but doesn't matter because he's moving on.
There you go. And if you guys want to add us on this app, Adam's going to download it, but mine's just Ryan Smetzer with no spaces. You can search for it and see all of my rankings, at least this one for now. But yeah, episode number 2, I enjoyed it. I'm really excited to see how this grows. You know, I hope it continues to build momentum. I love this community that we're building, communicating with you guys over on the Reddit feed and over on Facebook. Yeah, I'm just looking forward to it. Yeah, episode number 3 is going to be great. I can't wait until Maryland comes on. We're both Marylanders. So Cisco, I just learned a couple months ago, is from Baltimore because I had bought a Cameo from him for my friend for his birthday, which those of you in Europe, Cameo is where you can get like a B, C, D, E, F list celebrity to record something on their phone and send it to you for like a special occasion, like a birthday, or maybe somebody, you know, is having a baby, or to break up with somebody. I've seen that done. The guy from Sugar Ray did that for somebody. He broke up with like somebody's girlfriend for the guy. It was a whole thing. But yeah, we could break into that on the Cameo podcast with Ryan and Adam after the season.
Fall.
Yeah,
we'll be going over mid-tier apps.
It's gonna be after we do the Young Rock podcast, the Young Rock cast. It's gonna be a great time. But hey, thank you guys for listening and watching once again. Looking forward to episode number 3 next Monday. We'll drop it again Tuesday midday over here wherever you're listening to this podcast or over there on YouTube. Adam, any final parting thoughts?
Keep on drinking green smoothies.
Keep on singing, keep on drinking them green smoothies. $1 million smoothies. Peace.